Do you ever find yourself unsure how to start your next watercolor painting? Do you look at that blank piece of watercolor paper and freeze? Do you wonder, how should I start? Have I picked the right subject? What color should I use? Is the composition right? All of these questions and others can derail your painting before you even begin. I completely understand because I have felt all those feelings before and have asked those same questions. If you have felt this way, you are not alone. In this video, I want to share with you 4 pre-exercises that I have adopted that I now follow whenever I start a painting. They really have helped me become more successful and confident in my watercolor paintings. Does this sound interesting to you? Keep on watching. Welcome to my studio. My name's Kris. This channel is all about tools, tips, and tutorials for growing in watercolor. If you're interested in growing in watercolor, but you're a little unsure about the next step, or you're confused about all the information out there, I want to encourage you to check out my growing list of free and premium resources on my website. I have courses, quick guides, charts, templates, and helpful lists of recommended supplies. My goal is to help you grow in watercolor by sharing what I have learned along the way. You can find all of this at studio.krisdebruine.com. Now back to those 4 exercises that can help you start a watercolor painting with greater confidence. I have discovered over the years that if I spend some focused time and effort preparing for my watercolor painting, I am invariably more successful. I have identified 4 different activities that really help me get prepared. In this video, I want to share them with you. Here they are. Step number 1, I choose the right subject. This might seem kind of obvious, but I often see my students select subject matter that is either too difficult, or it doesn't have a clear focus, or it lacks some really important element. Here's what I look for in a scene or a reference image. First of all, I want there to be a clear point of interest or an emotional connection with the subject. It's important to be interested and really connected to the subject in some way. This will impact your ability to paint it. Also, the reference should have a full range of values from light to dark. Now, I realize there are some subjects that are low-key or high-key, but I find that a subject with a full range of values is easier to paint. It is also more interesting to look at because the contrast attracts the eye. It's also helpful if there are strong value shapes that will be interesting to paint. Is the shape of the main subject easy to read with strong form shadows? I also like to paint subjects that have clear cast shadows. This helps to establish the subject in the scene. Here's an example of a blue jay with a beautiful cast shadow. I love how this one turned out. And here's another tip. Consider even changing or adding to the subject. Remember, you do have artistic license. You are allowed to change the subject if you want. You can add or remove objects to improve the scene. You can move objects around in the scene to improve the composition, or crop the frame to change the layout. You do not have to be a slave to the original subject. If you think about all these things before you begin, it can make a big difference to the quality of your finished painting. Take the time to choose the right subject. Okay, my second essential pre-exercise, do a value study. While this might seem like a lot of extra work, I believe that painting a value study of your subject can be one of the most important preparatory steps you can take. When you paint a value study, you accomplish a few things. You are forcing yourself to slow down, study the subject, and really see the values. Since achieving the correct values is one of the most important parts of an effective painting, it makes sense that you should spend some time focusing on it. When you complete a value study, you're actually completing a practice painting. You're giving yourself a chance to practice techniques and brush strokes. You're discovering what to include and what to leave out. You're identifying the difficult parts of the painting. This pre-painting process really helps to understand the subject better. And finally, a value study can help you confirm if there really are strong value shapes in the subject upon which you can build an interesting composition. It is better to figure this out before you start your main painting rather than after. So I encourage you, do a value study. My third step when preparing to paint in watercolor is select the color palette. I like to limit my color palette to 4 to 6 colors. Sometimes I may use more, but this is kind of a rule of thumb I try to stick to. Using fewer colors and mixing the colors you need from a select palette can give your painting greater color unity. Start by identifying the best primary colors. Do you need a warm or a cool yellow? Or maybe both? Which red on your palette would work best? Which blue will give you the best mixes? Then add a couple earth tones and specialty colors. The more you do this, the better you will get at identifying the best colors. Next, take out a piece of practice paper and swatch out all the colors. Mix them to see what other colors you can get. Can you get all the colors you need from your selected paints? If so, you've identified your palette. Okay, we're almost ready to get started, but there's one more important exercise that I've recently added to my practice. Step number 4, I talk through the painting process. That's right, I actually speak out loud the steps I'm about to take with the painting. I talk through the process. Where will I start the first wash? What colors do I need to mix up on my palette? How light should I make the wash? Exactly where will I retain the whites of the paper? Where will I keep hard edges? Where should the colors blend? By thinking through and actually talking out loud through the steps, it's kind of like a rehearsal for the painting. It really helps. I discovered this step as I taught a watercolor class at my church. Since I was guiding a group of artists through the painting process, I needed to explain to them what I was doing. And as I did this, as I spoke out loud what I was doing, I found that it actually helped me as much as it helped them. It was amazing. So now I talk through the painting process even when I'm the only person in the room. So if you hear me talking to myself, you'll know why. So there you have it, my 4 steps to preparing for a watercolor painting. These pre-exercises are: number 1, choose the right subject. Number 2, do a value study. 3, select the color palette. And 4, talk through the painting process. If you do these things thoughtfully and with an aim to improve, I guarantee you will approach your painting with greater confidence. You will be better prepared and you will see results. Thanks for watching this video today. If you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. I put out videos like this about once a week. Have a great day and keep on growing in watercolor.